Hey guys! Welcome back to another colorful keto with Dori. Today we're going to talk about, are we ready for this? How do we get prepared in advance? What do we do now that we don't have time in advance? And we have a special new friend from TikTok today. So I see Dr. Collins. Hi, Dr. Collins. It's nice to meet you. Hopefully we're going to do this. I want to hang out with Dr. Collins and talk about being an introvert during quarantine and being an extrovert and what that means for us, because cheers, we're not loving it like everybody is. So today we're going to talk about the things that we can do to be prepared in advance, in our home, in our finances, and what we need to know this time and for next time. Miss Joette, my darling, it's so nice to see you. And you know what? This is one form of contact that we get to have all day long. Well, when the algorithm isn't doing its thing. So, our guest should be with us any moment. He did message me and let me know that he was ready to go. Now, this is another new friend that I met off of TikTok. So again, I don't know how many times I can say it. If you guys aren't on TikTok, why? It's more than silliness. There's a lot of really good information and fun friends to meet there. So I'm just going to shoot him a quick message and make sure he knows that we are already up online. And when we do this for the first time, you know what? Sometimes not so smoothie, but that's okay. Okay, so we are up live on IG. And I have a feeling that maybe he misunderstood how we were doing this, because he said, just FaceTime when I'm ready. So, cheers! So it might take a second for him to get here. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to show you guys what I did yesterday to be prepared. So I went out and I picked up some 99% alcohol. I was only able to get a little bit of aloe gel left at the store. But you mix 1 part aloe gel, 2 parts of your alcohol, and it needs to be the 99% so that you end up with a high enough alcohol ratio. And then you add whatever essential oil you want. I added mint, so I have my little to-go containers. And then I took some paper towel and I cut it up into little sheets. So 1/3 of a paper towel makes 8 sheets. And we have that available for our hands, for our countertops, quick and easy. Oh, there you are. Hello. Oh, no, not who I thought it was just yet. So that's one thing that I did at home. And it's not a huge square, but it's enough to do your hands, to wipe your counter, to wipe down your kettle, whatever you want to do, kind of last minute. Airtight container. We can make these, I'd say, to go, but who's going anywhere? But when the world is normal again, though, look at what we have to go. But when we're allowed to go places. So let me check and make sure that he saw the message. Okay, so I'm just going to send him a quick voice message so he knows. So all you need to do is pop on and watch the live. If you look at my Instagram page, I'm live right now. Pop in and watch the live and then send me a join request. Easy peasy. See, and then I get to show you guys how it works too. I do a lot of these with people who haven't done a dual live on Instagram before. And I always say it's easy, it's fun, you know, come and hang out and do it. My people don't expect perfection, so, you know, that's why we have edits. There you are. So just send me a join request. Joseph, it seems to connect better if you send the request than if I do. And then we're ready to go. Okay, let's see. Hello, Manda. Manda in Manitoba. Nice to see you. So I'm just waiting for you to send me a request. Oh, there we go. There it is. Go live. And it only takes a second to connect, and then there we are. Ta-da! And only because I just said it. Connecting. There we go!
We're live.
We are live! How are you?
Cool. Like the lights back there.
They're my signature. You know you're in Dori's kitchen when it's sparkly like the disco. See, I take my party with me. Who cares if we can't go out?
Exactly. You have the party at your place. It definitely has its economic benefit.
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. I have been thinking about some way to do like a Facebook live party where we could just hang out. Because, man, I miss the people.
Oh, I know. It's hard for extroverts, isn't it?
It is. So why don't you introduce yourself first? Because we just met on TikTok. So I know most of my people probably don't know who you are just yet.
Yeah. So my name is Joseph Borowski. I own a business here in Texas. Small business. I do auto hail repair, cars, trucks, SUVs, which is an interesting business. And these economic times, figuring that out. Started TikTok, I'd say about a month and a half ago, which is how we connected, obviously. And just kind of just sharing, I guess, an authentic journey of me, of building my business and things that I'm going through. I guess on the, you were a little bit more on the mental health side, as we spoke before. But that was something that resonated with me, and I just wanted to just encourage people out there that are going through the same thing. If not building a business, whatever.
Yes.
Just help as many people as I can. Be authentic.
So let's talk a little bit about how business is changing, because this is going to happen fast. And a lot of people are struggling. People are losing their jobs. A lot of us live paycheck to paycheck, and even a 2-week quarantine might break some people financially. So how do we kind of prepare for that a little bit better going forward?
Well, I think it's hard at this point. I mean, because everything, happens so fast. And, I don't know what the exact numbers are. Are you in Canada?
Yes, I'm in Canada, in Alberta. And we just declared a state of emergency in our province. So it's going to get bad before it gets better right now.
Yeah, it's the same here. Not so bad in Texas yet. People are still kind of going about driving. I'm kind of like quarantined. So I've been proactive. It's, like you said, it is going to get worse before it gets better. And everything just happens so fast. I mean, I was in my busy season and, the springtime, and then now I'm looking at, having a really big year, and then now I'm just kind of like second guessing, how is it going to affect, I need rental cars to operate my business for my customers, Enterprise is saying shut down branches. So everything right now is just kind of play by ear on my end. I don't know the exact numbers in Canada, but I was thinking it was like around 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And that's tough. And, a lot of people are freaking out about that. I think Trump was saying something like he was going to give Americans, as a part of the stimulus, some money to kind of keep things going. For now, it's not a whole lot. It was only like $1,000.
Yeah.
Doesn't really help too much. It's something. We just don't know at this point. It's kind of like in a waiting period, to see how bad this is really going to be. I do think that this is going to, I guess, break the bubble. We were due for a recession. It's like it potentially is a recession. So I'm kind of, in my situation, I'm kind of just looking for potentially pivoting into another business and just kind of waiting to see what needs are going to emerge from this virus and how is it going to change our way of living, because it obviously will, if this is something that's going to come back every year.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in a standstill in a way. The one thing I could say is prepare, have some groceries put back, prepare to stay inside, because there could be potentially a quarantine, coming up. I don't know what your thoughts of that are.
Well, I think right now it's voluntary. I think it's inevitable that there will be a mandatory quarantine. I think being as prepared as you can is awesome. I went out the other day and I just had this very eerie feeling that it was going to be the last time I would be out somewhere for a long time. And I think that causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. And that's the worst part, because it's like anything else in life. I can stress all month long that I don't think I'm going to be able to pay my bills at the end of the month. Somehow at the end of the month, I figure out how to pay everything. Everything works out. Nothing gets cut off. And I spent 3 weeks stressing out, thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get through this? And the anxiety that I caused myself in that time is pointless at the end. So it's really easy to get stressed out, but how do we kind of combat that now?
Well, I think that you just have to first understand that everybody is going through this. Most people.
Yes.
And I think once you think about that, it's like, okay, this is not just a problem for me. This is a problem for you. This is a problem for this part. And, people with businesses that obviously, like, I had a pretty successful business. And this was going to be a year where I did several $100,000. Like, I was going to have probably my best year. But then, I think about that and I'm like, oh, poor me. Or, other people, I can't do that because other people were in the same situation. It is really hard. But first you have to understand that we're all going through this, and we're all in this together. So you really do have to take care of, like you said, your mental health. That's what it comes down to. And you can control your finances to a certain extent. Obviously, most people are going to be cutting their expenses probably in half because they're not going out. They're not doing anything.
Yes.
Relying on your groceries that you've stocked up on, which is good. You're not eating out, that was one of my highest expenses, was eating out.
Yes.
So that in itself, you are going to make your money go a little farther. Obviously, that's hard on the economy when everybody's doing that. If you're not spending money, then the economy is not going to be doing well. People are not, I guess you're in a recession if people aren't getting haircuts and things of that nature. So,
well,
like I said, we're in a way. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, I was pretty much. I mean, that's the concerning part, but all we can do is control what obviously what we can control, and that's our mental health at this point. I meditate 2 times a day. I try to eat a clean diet, and I just look at this opportunity to help as many people. You're going to definitely see the good and the bad of people through this. I'm seeing a lot of selfish behavior online. People that I pretty well, and it's like, how bad do you really care about older people? Like, it's definitely you're gonna see a lot of that, but you're gonna definitely see people come out of this stronger. And I think a lot of opportunities will arise. There's gonna be a lot of needs coming. A lot of problems that can be solved from this.
Yes.
It's just a question of seeing them. It's so weird.
Well, and I feel like the benefit and the silver lining is when tragic things happen in communities, it gives communities an opportunity to come together, to build, to rebuild, and to be stronger. And because this is globally, this is everywhere, this in a way brings us together as one community going through one difficult time together, and it gives us the opportunity to do exactly that. Grow our global online community. Learn better how to make use of our social medias to support each other, to encourage each other, to help people find new streams of income, because there are a lot of people who are going to have to start working online and they don't know how. Help them. Right. If you know how to do it and someone needs your help them. That's how we're going to come out of this together, when we band together and share our knowledge, which again, TikTok, hello. That's why I love it. There's so much there. So let's talk a little bit about what you share on TikTok, because that's how I came across you. I really love your content there.
Right. So a lot of what I talk about is just some things that I personally. I don't really like to talk about things that I'm not going through personally. Like, I think it's fake, and some people do that. But the mental health side has been pretty important. I think that's kind of how we obviously resonate. That's just something you talk about. Yeah, that's something that's definitely a priority, because in the early stages of my business, I had a lot of anxiety and stress, and there's just obviously a lot of uncertainty. So I've definitely been trying to gear up for things like this, like times like this where it's times of uncertainty, where we need to be mentally strong, so we can become leaders and then use that. So I'm, like I said, I'm in a point where it's kind of like a pivot. I'm where a lot of people are. We have, our streams of income could be drying up soon, so we have to think outside the box and maybe potentially learn some new skills. So the great thing is, one thing we do have is time.
Yes. Got lots of that on my hands.
You have time. So the real question is, like, how are you going to use that time?
Yes.
Are you going to watch Netflix? Are you going to do things like that? Or are you going to get online? Are you going to research ways like building an extra skill set? Was that Facebook ads? Is that becoming better, in front of the camera, so you can become more of an influencer? Whether that's entertainment or education. You got to find whatever it is. Whatever value that you can add. So you're obviously doing that, and I think mental health is going to be huge for people. Keep encouraging people to stay on track. We're all in this together. Whatever bad financial times you think you're going through, there's some people doing the same thing. I started, when it comes to mental health, I don't know if you're familiar with like the Hump. Have you heard of that?
I
started that.
I kind of missed you just a little bit.
Okay. Have you heard of the Wim Hof method?
No, I've not.
Okay, so it's a guy, you can do some research on him. They call him the Iceman.
Okay.
Because he submerged himself in ice for this long period of time. But, he's got a program. Now that we're friends, they can give you the password and log in. You can try it out. It's something inside. But it just really has a profound effect on anxiety. It's a lot of breathing exercises. So I started that 3 days ago. A friend of mine has been doing it and has really good results. So I'm definitely doubling down on that, just to try to keep it.
And a lot of people don't realize, because it's a panic time and emotional eating, clean eating really makes a difference in how your brain works. If you're a regular junk food eater, you might not notice. But for me, going off track and eating junk food spikes my anxiety and it makes it worse. Absolutely. So if you're holed up at home and you're stressed out about the world and you're just eating, Cheetos and cereal by the box and, Ho-Hos and donuts and takeout pizza, you're probably going to feel worse than you do now.
So maybe give us an example of a list of groceries, since that's, people are scrambling. This is kind of maybe last minute thing. Yes. It's probably not, it was really bad for a while, but then it's starting to die down a little bit here in Texas.
Yes.
But I know other states, probably parts of Canada. What are some items that you buy that kind of help you?
So I went the other day and I picked up a large pork loin. And that's great because that's about 6 meals for my family. I can make chops, I can make pulled pork, I can make pork jerky, I can make soup out of it, I can make stew, I can make pork bites, I can make stir fry. Great variety. If you can get something like that. Roasts, if you can get whole turkeys or whole chickens, if anything like that is left over. You want to grab canned meat. because in a pinch, you're going to be able to at least get your protein. I bought vegetables that last longer and don't need refrigeration, like cabbage, spaghetti squash, different things like that. Now, if you eat carbs, potatoes, onions, root vegetables that are going to last a really long time, underneath your cupboard that don't require refrigeration, those are going to be key. If you can get frozen vegetables or frozen fruit, we grow our garden in the summer. So over the winter, I'll show you, I bag up my tomatoes and I just freeze them. So I have bags of frozen tomatoes, I have bags of peppers. So in the fall, when stuff is on sale, I stock up on this and I put it in my freezer. So in times like this, I know I've got tomatoes, I've got peppers, I've got some berries, I have access to some vegetables. One thing you can do if you small space live is we grow our own lettuces and spinach and stuff like that in the windowsill. So that's something that you can have regular access to fresh sprouting. If you want to grow your own alfalfa sprouts or mung bean sprouts, it only takes a couple of days. 3 days to grow sprouts, a week to do fresh alfalfa sprouts. So that's something that you buy in seed form. You can have it at home and grow a batch once a week to have something fresh.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think fresh is produce. That's what we go right now. And I know that, grocery stores are still potentially open. I'm still trying to avoid having to make as many ones as possible. Just out of respect for
yes.
Be a carrier.
Well, and buy things like
stock up on fresh stuff.
Big things of ghee instead of butter, because as fresh butter becomes less and less available, this doesn't require refrigeration. It just needs to be in a cool, dry place, and it's a lot cheaper than buying butter by the pound. Coconut oil, the same. Stock up on your oils, because those are the things that we're going to run short of in the interim. While stores are restocking, these are a lot of the items that I saw were out. And I don't eat pastas or rice or potatoes. So a lot of my people are going, okay, so I know how to emergency ration with, big old boxes of macaroni. I know how to do that, with big pots of potatoes. I know how to do that with lots of rice. How do I do it now that I don't eat those things? And I would say as long as you're getting your fats, it's the same as when we regularly eat keto. You're not going to miss those things. The fat will lower the amount of protein and vegetables that you need. And we've gone through starvation before, right? Look at what happened in the Depression and there was no meat. So people are creative and we'll be creative together.
Absolutely. I did stock up a lot of fats, nuts, things of that nature. I got some jerky.
Yes.
Trying to get as much like that. Still healthy. But I think I got probably 2 to 3 months worth. Just things that I knew that could possibly run out.
Yes.
But yeah, I think they'll still allow people to go to the grocery stores. But I do want to limit my trip. So that's some great information. Thank you.
Well, and I kind of gave up long storage food 3 years ago when I started keto. I don't generally have a huge stockpile of anything in my house. I don't have a stockpile of cans or rice or any of those things. And originally they said 2 weeks. So I was like, I'll go to the grocery store. I'll get, just my regular groceries. And then they're saying it might be as much as 2 months. So I'm like, well, I guess I better get a little bit more meat, get a little bit more vegetables, get a little bit more milk. So here's a question. What about things like that when we don't have access to fresh milk or cream or butter? Let's talk about some creative solutions that you can use around that, because we may or may not have direct access to those things like we're used to anymore.
Right. So what I'm seeing is a lot of people's panic is going directly to their local grocery store. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't imagine that farmers and like local smaller markets would be closed. So a way to support, I guess, more local businesses would be to kind of seek out smaller places.
Yes.
Because I think they'll actually have more supply, and then not only that, you're really helping support your local economy. That's just my thought. Now, it hasn't got to that yet because I'm just going to like my local grocery store, but like a Walmart or whatever you guys have in Canada. But I think that would be my next resort is to look for places like that when it comes to milk and other fresh produce.
And look on Facebook in your local market selling groups to find those. That's how I get my farm fresh eggs. I see posts for fresh eggs. I message. They drop them off. I give them money, and we're good. And I think a lot more businesses, a lot of small producers are going to start reaching out that way, and more things will become accessible online. And I think there's good and there's bad. I think the good is that as a people, we'll learn to be a little bit more patient because we're very used to being able to go to a store right now at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I ran out of this.
Society.
Yes. And I think that encourages us to, think ahead a little bit more. And on the dark side of that, I worry about social interaction. What happens when, we become a world where we only this and we don't socialize anymore. I'm like, where goes the fun?
Yeah. Less touching, I see in our future.
I think I might have had my last public hug from a stranger a couple weeks ago for a long time. We met for lunch and she's like, I'm going to hug you. And I was like, virus be dang, give me a hug. I'm a hugger. And I have a feeling that was my last public hug.
And I am too. I'm definitely a physical touch type of person. With all my friends, family. And that's tough. And my parents, my brother, he just graduated from boot camp, Marines, and they went to California this year. And they all came back with like upper respiratory problems.
Oh.
Like 3 of them, and I'm like, you sure you don't have it? We think it's just allergies. I'm like, I think all 3 of you guys caught that thing. So my mom was just kind of like, not worried or ever. She's like, well, you can come over to see your brother before he chips back up. And I was like, I think I'm going to have to FaceTime him. Just out of concern. Not because I'm afraid to catch it, but it's like that's the whole point of social distancing.
Well, and at what point does it stop affecting our regular everyday life, right? Like, where do we draw that line? So did you go see him or did you FaceTime?
I didn't. Just FaceTime. I didn't go see him, and which sucked. But it's like I don't want to catch that. And my roommates would be really pissed at me if I spread it to them. Everybody's freaking out. So I'm almost like, well, I don't mind if I catch it because I definitely want to feel like community, right away. I think that's something. So it's shit. But I'm just trying to. He said, just social distancing.
Well, and
just trying to adapt.
Yes.
Adapt with everything and just see how things land.
Well, and I think most of us don't have a concern for our own health if we're not immune compromised. For me, my concern is that my full-time job is taking care of a special needs adult who is immune compromised, who has epilepsy, who goes to an office surrounded by other compromised adults. So for me, my concern isn't really for me. It's for, my family, the people that I'm in contact with, my sister who gets bronchitis every year. These, I think, is what we need to keep in mind, even if, I'm healthy, I don't have symptoms, I don't usually get sick. If I did, I'd get over it. What we need to think past that is, who else do we come in contact with? Who's going to be around us? Because you can transmit without having any symptoms. Now, let's talk a little bit about that panic too, because now everybody who's like a little bit sick or has a little bit of a scratchy throat is like, oh my God, do I have it? Do you have it? So how do we kind of calm our nuts about that too, just a little bit. Every cough isn't corona.
Right. No, exactly. And I mean, we're experiencing our first flu season in like ever. I'm not sure. I don't know. But,
no one ever gets the flu.
There's definitely a lot of a lot of other mild colds and stuff out there, and it is hard to. I'm reading stuff online, symptoms with coronavirus. It's like 68% are saying dry cough, and then the other 30-something% are like some mucus. And it's like, how do you really know? And it's like, I just don't know at this point. Like, how you can really tell. I mean, I just say you should just treat it like, hey, if you do have a normal cold, just stay home.
Exactly.
Which is different, and it's hard because, like, here in the States, like, if you have any normal cold, that shouldn't affect you. You still go to the gym. Like, if I had a cold, I still go to the gym. It's like, hey, I'm just like, cold. I'm gonna do my best to be sanitary, but I'm gonna lock myself in my house for like 2 weeks just with cold. I'm still gonna go to work.
Well, and that's the old way, right? Like, that's how it used to be. I mean, unless you were on your deathbed and you could bring in a doctor's note, you had to come to work if you were sick. I don't know how many times and how many jobs I've worked over the years where they said, oh, well, it's too bad you're sick. We can't not have you here today. We need you here today. So I think that's going to change a little bit too, at least for the time being, because we don't really have an option about that. So Sherry says that cough with a fever seems to be the most common denominator that everybody is talking about. Pat, Keto Tiny and Vintage, says, thank goodness our local farms are still open and driving crates of supplies up the road for pickups. So grateful for that. And they don't have any plans to stop that at this point. Living on the island in a heavy storm-based area for hurricanes, we generally have to be stocked up because we have lost lots of power and outages, and she said these are really great options to keep in mind. Kim says, we just got back from Gutenberg last week and I'm staying away from my mom just to be safe. So I think it's really a lot of people that are doing that right now. I do see some people online who are they're going out to bars, they're partying, they're doing this, and they're saying, I don't really care. But I think the majority of people are taking the opportunity to be a little bit prepared, be a little bit more mindful, and limit where we're going out for the time being.
Right. I think so too. I started looking at like local businesses, like my normal routine, like Starbucks, places I went, like little restaurants, after the gym. And I would say there's probably at least like a couple of days that go out, there's at least a 60% decrease, which is quite a bit.
Yes.
Fall off. It was like in the middle of a Saturday and a Starbucks was packed. There was probably 3 people in there. So that's quite a bit. And I don't know how much of that was just like the initial panic. It's like, everybody stay inside. And I'm like, well, how long will that last?
Right.
You just tell everybody stay inside. It's like initial like a panic, and then everything kind of goes back to normal. But yeah, I mean, people are starting to do it, and that's good. We just have to keep people calm and understand this is going to be more than a couple of weeks, most likely.
It probably will. Like, if we're honest about that, it's looking like it's taking closer to 2 months where, they've done quarantine and then seen enough of a reduction that everything's able to go back to normal. But even in places where they're still under quarantine, I'm hearing there's still limited supplies. You're still able to, get out a little bit. They're just really, really enforcing distance and cleanliness. Right. And
yeah, and I get it. It's really hard to stay in your house. I personally just need, I don't mind it, but I just need to kind of like drive a little bit, just need to get outside and just move a little bit. I don't need to be necessarily around people. It's just like, and getting clear my head a little bit. So now I'm kind of just doing like runs around the neighborhood. I got like a whole workout, something I want to do. I think think that's something else to sell out soon, because people are realizing now gyms are closed.
Yes.
And they didn't just close restaurants, they closed gyms, because they realized gyms are like the,
breeding ground,
prime place for germs
yes.
and other sicknesses. So,
well,
I froze my gym membership. I'm like, you know what, I don't want to be a carrier. So I got some equipment, trying to transition into that.
And kind of all of the activities are closed. Libraries are closed, museums are closed, but I've seen a lot, and again, this goes to the ingenuity and flexibility. I've seen a lot of the museums and zoos and different exhibits have started doing online virtual tours. So you can go to their website and you can still tour the facility online with your kids. You can, take them to the virtual zoo. You can take them to the museum. It's a great time to look at online books. It's an amazing time to do that course you've been meaning to do that you never have time to take. It's a great time to bond with your kids, especially when they're driving you crazy.
Right. Yeah, there's so much opportunity from this. We just have to stay positive. I know I'm going to be definitely catching up on my reading, a lot more research, doubling down obviously on my mental health, because now it's more than ever. We're obviously in the early stages, but that's why I'm preparing, because I'm like, I already have anxiety, which is normal life.
Yes.
And now you have to put things in perspective. It's like, okay, things are actually worse.
Yes.
Just preparing for that.
And the last thing I want to warn people to be prepared about is make sure you're stocked up on any essential medications. Now, here in Canada, they don't allow any renewals over the phone. You have to go to the doctor's office. But I called Jacob's doctor's office and I said, is there any chance you're making an exception? And she said, yes, we are. Have your pharmacy fax us a requisition form. We will put that in. And he's getting his medications, because I don't want to go to the doctor and I don't want to take him to the doctor surrounded by sick people just to get his regular prescription renewal, just in case. He's got enough for 50 days, but what happens if it ends up being 2 months? So prepare that in advance. If you have any regular medications, any painkillers, cold medicine, those kinds of things that you need, make sure you have those, because when things get limited, those are generally the first things that get limited.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, another thing is just anything to keep your immune system strong as well. Multivitamin. They're saying vitamin D is something. There's obviously a lot of new information coming out, trying to figure out what helps with the virus. They say zinc possibly. They don't really know. Obviously, vitamin C helps your immune system. So those are things that I stocked up on pretty early. Made sure I had multivitamins for like the next 3 months. Things that you would just use anyway.
Yes.
That's what I'm telling people. It's like you're gonna spend the money anyway. You're just being extra cautious and spending it up front. So you have it, so you're prepared. But I do think that I probably did buy some things I otherwise possibly wouldn't need because of some slight panic, and I think everybody would. But
I think we're all a little guilty.
I think I went a lot of extra toothbrushes and toothpaste. But for me, it's like toothpaste is kind of essential. I do not want to be at the point where I can't brush my teeth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I won't lie. I stood at the toothpaste aisle and I thought, should I get some toothpaste? And then I was like, you know what? Dude, a tube of toothpaste lasts me 6 months. I probably don't need to buy up a bunch of toothpaste. So, and I did that same debate when I was in the grocery store. I was able to get 1 toilet paper. I don't need 5. Everybody is going to need them. 1 24-pack of toilet paper lasts my family a month. So 2 does us good for 2 months. I don't need 10. It kind of feels like the beginning of an apocalypse movie, but it's not, and I swear you don't have to buy everything.
No shit, yeah.
We're gonna make it
I
through.
bought in bulk. I really was just thinking about a lot of family members, because I knew that they would get prepared. I'm a little pumpy for what prepared.
Right.
So, it was just a thoughtful thing, and it was like my brother, and he's like, "You got any toilet paper?" I'm like, "Dude, I got you."
I got you. Could you spare a square? And there's going to be all kinds of toilet paper jokes from now until forever. Like, toilet humor is at an all-time high right now. Like, that, and man, all the hand washing videos I'm seeing, the grandma is coming out in me, and I'm like, turn off that tap. Why are you leaving the water running? You're washing your hands for 20 whole seconds. You want to have a water shortage? That's how you get a water shortage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Grandma Dori. So let's finish up with where everybody can find you online and hang out with you and learn cool stuff about how you transition through all of this with your business.
Well, a lot of that's going to be mostly on TikTok.
Okay.
My attention. I haven't really posted in about a week just because I've been on the road and I was going to usually set up in Tennessee, and that fell through, and then shit kind of hit the fan. Things got crazy, and just trying to transition right now. So I haven't been able to just focus on putting out some content.
Okay.
Because the content may change because of what we're going through. So mostly TikTok. It's going to be at Joseph Borowski, which is my first and last name.
Okay.
And then all my social medias, if you're follow me on Instagram or Snapchat, Twitter, any of those, it's all going to be at Joseph Borowski. They're pretty easy to find.
Excellent. So when we're all done, send me all your links and I'll add them in at the bottom. That way everybody can just clicky instead of hunty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have an amazing day, and thank you so much for hanging out with us and talking about how to be prepared. We love it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
And nice meeting you.
It was awesome to meet you too. We'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have a feeling we're going to be doing more and more lives as we get less and less contact with the outside world. So I'm going to say stay tuned. It's been a while since I've done a 3 live week, but we got another one coming tomorrow, and we're going to talk about carnivore. We're going to talk about how meat heals and our options between whole foods and medication. We're going to share success stories, and Miss Joette, the star of any carnivore chat I do, and my Miss Pat, Keto Tidy and Vintage. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to meet another new TikTok friend. Have an awesome day, guys. See you soon. And I love you. Be safe. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face, and don't use me as an example. I'm really bad for face touching. Love you guys. Have a great day.